As the first blush of dawn spills across the endless African savanna, a golden haze settles over the land, painting the grasslands in hues of amber and ochre. In this vast open expanse, the lion reigns supreme, a living symbol of strength and sovereignty. The pride stirs in the cool morning air, each member rising from the shelter of the tall grass. Muscles ripple beneath sleek, tawny coats as lions stretch and yawn, their breath visible in the crisp light. The dominant male, his mane thick and dark, stands sentinel atop a termite mound, his gaze sweeping the horizon for signs of movement. Around him, lionesses move with measured elegance, their bodies low and purposeful, while cubs tumble and play, learning the boundaries of their world under the watchful eyes of their elders. The air vibrates with the deep, resonant rumble of their calls, a language of power and unity that reverberates across the plains, warning rivals and reassuring kin. The pride's formidable strength is rooted in its cohesion. Lionesses, the tacticians of the hunt, move in seamless formation, their bodies pressed close to the earth, every sinew primed for the chase. They communicate through subtle glances and flicks of the tail, orchestrating complex maneuvers to outflank their quarry. Cubs, wide-eyed and attentive, crouch in the shadows, absorbing the silent choreography of the hunt. The savanna pulses with tension, herds of wildebeest and zebra graze warily, their ears twitching at the faintest sound, their bodies poised for flight. The lion's presence is a ripple through the ecosystem, a force that shapes the behavior of every creature on the plain. Yet at the edge of the savanna, the world undergoes a profound transformation. The open grasslands yield to a labyrinth of dense foliage, where sunlight is filtered through layers of emerald leaves. The air grows heavy and humid, thick with the scent of earth and growing things. Here, the rules of survival are rewritten, and the strategies of the open plains become obsolete. The jungle is a realm of perpetual twilight, where beams of sunlight fracture and scatter, illuminating patches of the forest floor in fleeting brilliance. The undergrowth is alive with the ceaseless activity of insects, amphibians, and birds, each adapted to the intricate web of life that thrives in the shadows. Here, brute force is rendered ineffective by the tangled maze of roots and vines, and survival demands a different kind of mastery. In this shadowed world, the leopard emerges as a master of stealth and adaptation. Solitary by nature, it moves with a fluid grace, each step calculated to avoid detection. Its body is built for agility, muscles coiled for sudden leaps, paws cushioned for silent passage. Unlike the lion, the leopard thrives in isolation, navigating the jungle's complexities with an intelligence honed by necessity. The leopard's coat is a living tapestry, each rosette breaking up its outline and rendering it nearly invisible among the shifting shadows. It glides through the undergrowth, senses sharpened to the faintest rustle or scent. Every movement is a study in restraint, a silent negotiation with the unseen dangers that lurk in the gloom. Its tail, long and expressive, aids in balance as it weaves through the tangled maze, and its eyes, wide and unblinking, capture every flicker of movement in the dim light. The jungle is a chessboard of infinite complexity, and the leopard is its most cunning strategist. It slips through narrow corridors of green, weaving between roots and vines, always alert to the shifting patterns of light and shadow. Each twist in the path is a calculated move, each pause a moment to listen and assess. The leopard's world is one of constant adaptation, where every sense is tuned to the subtlest changes in its environment. The leopard's vigilance is unceasing. Its ears swivel independently, capturing the faintest crackle of a twig or the distant call of a monkey. Its nose samples the thick, fragrant air, decoding the invisible messages left by other creatures. Every sense is a finely tuned instrument, calibrated for survival in a world where danger can emerge from any direction. When the paths of lion and leopard intersect, the encounter is a silent contest of wits and instinct. The lion, built for dominance on the open plains, finds itself hampered by the jungle's tangled embrace. Its bulk betrays its presence. Branches snap, leaves rustle, and the scent of its passage lingers in the air. The leopard, in contrast, becomes a shadow, watching, waiting, calculating the odds before deciding whether to vanish or strike with surgical precision. In these rare moments, the jungle itself becomes the arbiter, favoring the one who best understands its secrets. The jungle is the great equalizer. Here, dominance is not declared with roars, but with silence and subtlety. The environment rewards those who can vanish, who can read the language of shadows and move without leaving a trace. Every creature is both hunter and hunted, and survival depends on the ability to adapt to the ever-changing tapestry of light, sound, and scent. The leopard's genius lies in its ability to become part of the landscape. It waits with infinite patience, muscles relaxed but ready to explode into action. It knows when to strike and when to vanish, its decisions shaped by a lifetime of silent observation. Each hunt is a test of timing and restraint, a delicate balance between risk and reward. As twilight descends, the jungle transforms into a realm of shifting shadows and elusive forms. The leopard moves with spectral grace, its silhouette dissolving into the deepening gloom. Fireflies spark in the darkness, and the air is thick with the scent of rain and earth. Nightfall brings a new set of challenges and opportunities, and the leopard is perfectly attuned to the rhythms of the nocturnal world. The lion's roar, so commanding on the open plains, is muffled by the dense foliage. The leopard, meanwhile, becomes a legend whispered among the trees, a presence felt but rarely seen. Its eyes gleam in the mist, a fleeting glimpse of the jungle's most elusive hunter. The silence is broken only by the soft pad of paws and the distant calls of night creatures. High above the forest floor, the leopard claims its throne. From this elevated perch, it surveys a kingdom of shadows and secrets. Its confidence is quiet, its authority unchallenged in a world where subtlety is the ultimate weapon. The jungle's heights offer safety and perspective, a vantage from which the leopard can observe without being seen. The leopard's hunt is a masterpiece of timing and precision. It stalks with infinite care, each step muffled by the soft carpet of moss and fallen leaves. When the moment comes, it strikes with breathtaking speed, the struggle brief and silent, the jungle quickly returning to stillness. With unmatched strength, the leopard often carries its prize high into the trees, safe from scavengers and rivals. In the end, the jungle belongs to those who master its secrets. The leopard, ghost of the forest, reigns not with noise or spectacle, but with intelligence, patience, and an unrivaled ability to disappear. In this world of shadows, it is the silent ruler, forever outsmarting the kings of the open plains, its legend woven into the very fabric of the jungle itself. In the vast openness of the savannah, the lion pride is a living machine, each member's role defined by instinct and experience. The matriarch leads with subtle cues, her tail flicking in the tall grass, while subadults shadow her movements, learning the silent language of the hunt. Cubs, protected in the heart of the group, absorb the rhythm of pride life, their play mimicking the strategies they will one day employ. The dominant male, his mane catching the sunlight, stands sentinel, his presence alone deterring rivals and scavengers alike. Here, the pride's unity is palpable, their collective strength a bulwark against the uncertainties of the wild. Each hunt is a symphony of coordination. Lionesses melt into the grass, their bodies pressed low, eyes fixed on the trembling herd. Subadults flank the edges, anticipating the panicked flight of their quarry. The matriarch's signal, a barely perceptible twitch, triggers a cascade of movement. Muscles coil, paws glide silently, and the pride closes in with breathtaking precision. In these moments, the savannah is theirs, every blade of grass a silent accomplice. Communication is a constant thread. Low growls ripple through the pride, tail flicks and ear twitches transmit intent. Even the youngest cubs learn to interpret these signals, responding to the subtlest cues. Physical contact, rubbing heads, brushing flanks, cements social bonds, ensuring that every member is attuned to the group's needs. In the open, these signals travel unimpeded, binding the pride in a seamless web of awareness. But as the pride approaches the jungle's threshold, the world transforms. The open horizon dissolves into a wall of green, the air thick with the scent of moss and decaying wood. Each step forward is tentative, paws sinking into the spongy earth, senses straining to decipher the unfamiliar. The cubs, emboldened on the plains, now press close to their mothers, their confidence ebbing with the fading light. The jungle's dense foliage fractures their vision. Sunlight, once a guiding force, now filters through the canopy in erratic patterns, painting their coats with shifting shadows. Every movement is obscured by a tangle of vines and leaves, and the pride's once flawless coordination begins to falter. The lions, so visible and dominant on the plains, become ghosts in a world that refuses to yield its secrets. Isolation creeps in. Calls, once clear and commanding, are muffled by the dense vegetation. Even the sharpest ears struggle to distinguish the familiar from the foreign. Pride members, separated by mere meters, lose sight of one another, each navigating a labyrinth of green alone. The cubs' mews are swallowed by the jungle, and the adult's confidence gives way to caution. Every step becomes a hazard. Dry twigs snap beneath heavy paws, sending birds and monkeys into frantic flight. The lion's passage is betrayed by the rustle of leaves and the crack of branches, their presence announced long before they glimpse their quarry. The jungle, alive with alert eyes and ears, turns against them, amplifying every misstep. The jungle's humidity is relentless. Lions, built for explosive sprints across open ground, now labor with every breath. Their golden coats, once sleek, are darkened by sweat and clinging debris. Chests heave, tongues loll, and eyes blink against the oppressive air. Each inhalation is thick with the scent of wet earth, rotting leaves, and the musk of unseen creatures. Their size, once a symbol of dominance, becomes a liability. Massive bodies squeeze through narrow corridors, manes snag on thorny vines, and every stride is checked by roots and branches. The lion's movements, fluid on the plains, are now awkward and halting, frustration etched in every line of their bodies. Stealth, their greatest weapon on the savannah, is stripped away. Their tawny coats, perfect camouflage in grassland, blaze like warning signals against the jungle's deep greens and browns. Attempts to crouch low only highlight their bulk, and prey, attuned to the subtlest movement, are quick to spot the intruders. Their hunting tactics unravel. Prey, shaped by generations of jungle survival, slip through gaps in the undergrowth, vanishing before the lions can react. A single misstep sends a bushbuck bounding away, its alarm call echoing through the trees. The lions, left in a tangle of vines and frustration, are forced to abandon the chase. Alarm calls ripple through the canopy, monkeys shriek from the treetops, antelope stampede through the brush, and birds explode into flight. The jungle's residents, ever vigilant, warn each other with a chorus of cries, and the lion's approach is met with a wall of sound and movement. Frustration mounts with every failed attempt. The lion's senses, so finely tuned for the open, are overwhelmed by the jungle's sensory barrage. Unfamiliar scents mingle with the musk of unseen predators, and every shadow conceals a potential threat. Confidence erodes, replaced by hesitation and uncertainty. In this shadowed world, the lion's reign falters. Their power, unmatched on the plains, is blunted by the jungle's demands. As the lions hesitate, the leopard glides through the undergrowth, silent, invisible, utterly at home. Here the balance of power shifts, and the pride's dominance fades into the gloom, leaving only the whisper of their passing in the tangled green. Deep within the emerald labyrinth, where sunlight struggles to reach the ground and every inch teems with life, the leopard emerges as the silent, architect of survival. Here, the jungle is a living mosaic, an intricate tapestry of towering trees, tangled vines, and shifting shadows, each element shaped by the relentless push and pull of predator and prey. The jungle is not a prison for the leopard, it is a fortress, a dynamic stronghold where every creature carves out its own niche. The leopard's mastery lies in its ability to navigate this ever-changing terrain, using the vertical dimension of the forest as both sanctuary and vantage point. While monkeys exploit the upper canopy and birds command the air, the leopard claims the middle ground, moving with silent authority. Every leaf, branch, and shadow becomes a tool for survival. The leopard's coat, dappled with rosettes, mimics the interplay of light and foliage, rendering it nearly invisible. Its movements are measured and deliberate, each step calculated to avoid dry twigs or loose stones that might betray its presence. In this world, silence is as valuable as strength. Solitude is the leopard's greatest ally. Unlike the lion, whose power lies in numbers, the leopard thrives alone, adapting its tactics to the unpredictable rhythms of the forest. This independence allows it to exploit opportunities that social predators overlook, slipping through the jungle's maze with unmatched discretion. The jungle's inhabitants are masters of adaptation. The leopard's acute senses, its ability to detect the faintest rustle or scent, are rivaled only by the camouflage and vigilance of its neighbors. Each animal, from the smallest insect to the largest predator, has evolved strategies to outwit both hunter and hunted. Obstacles in the jungle are not barriers, but opportunities. The leopard's lithe body and flexible spine allow it to slip through the tightest spaces, leap across yawning gaps, and vanish into the thickest cover. Other creatures, too, have honed their bodies and behaviors to navigate this complex world, each finding unique solutions to the challenges of survival. The jungle is a realm of constant vigilance. The leopard reads its environment with an intelligence born of necessity, interpreting every sound, scent, and flicker of movement. It is a strategist, anticipating the actions of prey and rivals alike, and adjusting its approach with remarkable ingenuity. Confrontation is rarely the leopard's choice. Instead, it relies on patience and intelligence, outmaneuvering larger adversaries and evading detection. The jungle's architecture, its layers of concealment and escape routes, offers endless possibilities for those who know how to use them. In this intricate ecosystem, success belongs not to the strongest but to the most resourceful. The leopard's stealth is matched by the camouflage and cunning of countless other species, each playing a role in the delicate balance of jungle life. The leopard is the jungle's ghost, an architect of its own destiny, perfectly attuned to the wild rhythms of its home. In this world of perpetual motion and silent competition, it stands as a testament to animal ingenuity, thriving in a realm where only the most adaptable endure. In the heart of the jungle, silence is a weapon, and the leopard is its undisputed master. Every aspect of its anatomy is sculpted by evolution to erase its presence from the senses of prey and rival alike. The leopard's paws, broad and softly padded, compress with each step, dispersing its weight and absorbing the shock of contact. Even when treading on brittle leaves or fragile twigs, the thick, velvety pads muffle the faintest sound, allowing the leopard to move as a living shadow. In contrast, the lion's paws, though similarly padded, are built for power rather than stealth. The lion's heavier frame and more rigid gait transmit subtle vibrations through the ground, betraying its approach to the keen senses of jungle inhabitants. Where the leopard glides, the lion treads. The leopard's gait is a study in fluidity. Its limbs move in a seamless, coordinated rhythm, each muscle fiber working in concert to minimize disturbance. The flexible skeleton, with its elongated spine and supple joints, allows the leopard to undulate through tangled undergrowth, weaving between vines and slipping beneath low branches with barely a whisper. The lion, by comparison, must force its way through, its bulk and strength ill-suited to the delicate art of silence. The leopard's sensory arsenal is equally refined. Sensitive whiskers, or vibrissae, extend from its muzzle and legs, detecting the slightest changes in air currents and the presence of obstacles. These tactile sensors guide each step, allowing the leopard to place its paws with surgical precision, avoiding anything that might betray its passage. The lion's whiskers, while formidable, are tuned more for spatial awareness in open terrain than for the intricate navigation of dense jungle. The leopard's spine is a marvel of flexibility, composed of elongated vertebrae and powerful ligaments that permit extraordinary bending and twisting. This anatomical advantage enables the leopard to contort its body, adjusting posture instantly to the terrain, and maintain perfect balance even on unstable ground. The lion's spine, though strong, is less adaptable, built for explosive sprints and brute force, rather than the subtlety of silent movement. Muscular coordination is the final key. The leopard's muscles contract and release in perfect harmony, propelling it forward with a step so light it barely disturbs the forest floor. Each tendon and ligament is tuned for elasticity and control, allowing for sudden, silent bursts of speed. The lion's stride, by contrast, is resonant and forceful, its muscles optimized for power rather than finesse. When stalking, the leopard lowers its body, distributing its weight evenly across all four limbs. Its tail, long and supple, acts as a counterbalance, enabling sudden, silent shifts in direction as it closes in on unsuspecting prey. The lion, though capable of stealth in open grasslands, cannot match the leopard's precision in the tangled jungle. In the dappled shadows, the leopard's rosette-patterned coat fractures its outline, rendering it nearly invisible among the shifting patterns of light and leaf. The lion's golden fur, so effective in the savannah, stands out in the jungle gloom. Here the leopard becomes a phantom, moving, waiting and striking with a silence that is absolute, a living embodiment of the biomechanics of stealth. Suspended high above the tangled undergrowth, a secret dominion flourishes, one where agility, not brute strength, determines sovereignty. Here, the leopard is both monarch and phantom, its rosetted coat melting into the shifting mosaic of sun and shadow. The branches form a living network, each limb a thoroughfare bustling with life, each leaf a veil for the unseen. While lions prowl the forest floor, their massive frames ill-suited for vertical pursuits, the leopard glides upward, threading its way through a labyrinth of branches. Colobus monkeys, ever vigilant, freeze mid-bite as the predator's outline flickers overhead, their alarm calls rippling through the canopy and alerting a host of other creatures to the silent ascent. The upper world is a mosaic of alliances and rivalries. Hornbills and parrots, their plumage ablaze with color, cluster on neighboring branches, ever ready to take flight at the faintest hint of danger. The leopard, motionless and alert, surveys the scene, its golden eyes tracking the subtle movements of prey and rival alike, while monkeys chatter nervously from a safe distance. Squirrels, nimble and quick, scurry along the bark, pausing to assess the threat as the leopard glides past, its muscles rippling beneath its coat. The predator's ascent is a study in precision, each movement calculated, each pause deliberate, as it vanishes into the dense foliage, leaving only a faint rustle in its wake. When fortune favors the hunt, the leopard's strength is revealed in a single astonishing feat, hauling its prize into the treetops. An impala carcass dangles from a high branch, safe from the covetous eyes of hyenas and the relentless patience of circling vultures. The air is thick with the scent of fresh kill, but only the leopard can access this elevated larder. As the leopard feeds, fragments of its meal drift downward, attracting a procession of scavengers. Beetles and butterflies converge on the remnants, their delicate forms a stark contrast to the predator's power, each playing a vital role in the endless cycle of renewal that sustains the forest. Below, a lion prowls, its presence a reminder of the dangers that stalk the shadows. Yet the leopard, secure in its aerial fortress, gazes down with impunity. A chameleon inches along a branch, its skin shifting to match the leaves, both predator and prey adapting to the ever-changing tapestry of the treetops. The canopy is a realm of constant negotiation. Troops of monkeys traverse the uppermost branches, their acrobatics a daily spectacle. Birds weave intricate nests in the crooks of limbs, while insects form bustling colonies beneath the bark. Each species claims its own territory, yet all are bound by the unspoken rules of coexistence. As dusk settles, the chorus of cicadas and frogs swells, their calls reverberating through the leafy heights. The leopard, poised and unchallenged, surveys its domain from above, the ground far below and the threats of the earthbound world rendered distant and irrelevant. Night brings new actors to the stage. Flying squirrels launch themselves into the void, their membranes catching the air as they glide past the leopard's resting form. Owls emerge from the gloom, their silent wings carrying them in pursuit of geckos and moths, each predator and prey locked in a delicate balance. With the coming of dawn, the leopard stretches languidly, dew sparkling on its fur. Sunlight pierces the mist, revealing spider webs strung like jewels between branches. The kingdom in the trees awakens once more, every inhabitant resuming its role in the intricate drama of survival. When the leopard finally descends, its shadow ripples across the forest floor, sending butterflies swirling into the air and monkeys into a fresh chorus of warning. The cycle continues, each day a testament to the delicate equilibrium that defines this vertical kingdom. In this arboreal empire, every vine and branch is alive with purpose. Ants march in disciplined columns, caterpillars inch along leaves, and tiny frogs cling to mossy bark. The leopard's passage is marked only by a subtle shiver in the greenery, a fleeting sign of the ruler's presence. As twilight deepens, the jungle's upper world becomes a silhouette of movement and sound. The leopard, nearly invisible against the darkening sky, resumes its silent patrol. In this elevated sanctuary, the laws of the ground are forgotten, and the leopard's reign endures, unseen, unrivaled, and utterly at home among the shadows and leaves. In the labyrinthine depths of the jungle, the leopard's command of the treetops is a marvel of evolutionary adaptation. Each branch becomes a vantage point, each leaf a veil for concealment. For the leopard, trees are not merely shelter from ground-based threats, they are elevated fortresses, offering both sanctuary and the perfect stage for a lethal ambush. With extraordinary patience, the leopard becomes one with the canopy, its body pressed flat against the bark, muscles coiled in silent readiness. The intricate rosette patterns on its fur dissolve into the mosaic of light and shadow, rendering it nearly invisible to the creatures traversing the forest floor. Every sense is heightened, attuned to the faintest rustle or snap of a twig below. When opportunity presents itself, the leopard's descent is a masterclass in precision and power. It launches from its perch with explosive force, gravity amplifying its momentum. The attack is not merely a fall, but a calculated strike, limbs extended, claws unsheathed, jaws poised for a decisive grip. The element of surprise is absolute. The prey, caught in a moment of vulnerability, has no warning before the silent predator is upon it. The ambush is executed with ruthless efficiency. The leopard's weight and velocity combine to overwhelm even robust prey, pinning it to the ground before it can react. The kill is swift, minimizing noise and struggle, ensuring that the jungle's other predators remain unaware of the drama unfolding above and below. By striking from above, the leopard can target animals far exceeding its own size. The momentum of the fall, combined with the shock of the ambush, allows it to subdue formidable opponents with minimal risk. Once the prey is secured, the leopard's strength is on full display, as it drags or hoists its catch into the safety of the branches, out of reach of scavengers and rival predators. Even the mighty lion, king of the savannah, is forced to adapt its behavior within the jungle's vertical maze. The ever-present threat from above compels lions to move with caution, their senses alert to the possibility of a sudden attack. The leopard's dominance of the treetops introduces a new dimension of danger, one that even apex predators cannot ignore. From its lofty vantage point, the leopard becomes both observer and orchestrator of the jungle's unfolding drama. Every movement below is scrutinized, every potential threat or opportunity weighed with cold calculation. This psychological edge, knowing it can strike at will, imbues the leopard with a confidence that few rivals can match. In this intricate world of shadows and heights, the treetops are more than mere refuge. They are the ultimate weapon. Here, the leopard transforms the jungle into a three-dimensional battlefield, where every level holds new possibilities for ambush and escape. In this realm, the leopard's mastery of vertical tactics ensures its reign as the undisputed phantom of the jungle canopy. Deep within the tangled labyrinth of the jungle, psychological warfare unfolds as a relentless, invisible duel, a contest not of brute strength alone, but of intellect, anticipation, and the subtle manipulation of fear. For the leopard, every brush with the lion is a cerebral engagement where victory is often determined before claws ever meet. In this shadowed arena, dominance is not simply asserted, it is engineered through a complex interplay of signals, deceptions, and calculated restraint. Scent marking for the leopard is a nuanced act of psychological assertion. Each deposit of musk or scrape of claw is a coded message saturating the air and earth with a presence that lingers long after the animal has vanished. These chemical signatures are not mere boundaries, they are warnings layered with intent, designed to unsettle intruders and provoke hesitation. The lion, upon encountering these invisible markers, is forced to weigh the risks of advancing, its confidence subtly eroded by the knowledge that it is being watched, measured, and anticipated. The leopard's mastery of stillness is a psychological weapon honed by necessity. Hours may pass as it remains perfectly motionless, its body pressed low, muscles coiled beneath a tapestry of dappled fur. To the untrained eye, it ceases to exist, becoming a rumor in the undergrowth. This calculated invisibility breeds uncertainty in rivals, compelling them to question every rustle and shadow. The mere possibility of the leopard's presence transforms the landscape into a minefield of doubt, where every step could trigger an ambush. Camouflage, for the leopard, is not simply a matter of blending in, it is a deliberate act of psychological subterfuge. Its rosetted coat fractures the animal's outline, scattering its form into the shifting mosaic of light and shadow. This visual trickery confounds the lion's senses, forcing it to second-guess its own perceptions. The jungle becomes a hall of mirrors, where certainty dissolves and hesitation takes root. The leopard's vocalizations are deployed with surgical precision. A single, guttural rasp, cast into the misty dawn, reverberates unpredictably through the tangled branches. The sound's elusive origin unsettles all who hear it, sowing anxiety among rivals. For the lion, this auditory phantom is a constant reminder of an adversary who is always near, yet never seen, a presence that haunts the periphery of awareness, impossible to confront directly. Even the formidable lion is susceptible to the psychological tactics woven by its elusive rival. When confronted with ambiguous cues, an unfamiliar scent, a fleeting shadow, a distant growl, the pride's collective assurance falters. The jungle's labyrinthine complexity amplifies their unease, transforming every thicket into a possible hiding place, every silence into a threat. The lion's movements become tentative, their unity strained by the constant spectre of ambush. The leopard's approach is a study in controlled silence. Each step is measured, each movement calculated to avoid the snap of a twig or the rustle of leaves. This near-total absence of sound creates an auditory void, leaving both prey and rival predators in a state of heightened alertness. The uncertainty of the leopard's proximity becomes a psychological snare, ensnaring the minds of those who would challenge it. As the lions attempt to track their elusive adversary, their senses are bombarded by the jungle's overwhelming tapestry of smells and sounds. The leopard, adept at manipulating its own scent trails and masking its passage, leads its pursuers on a futile chase. Each false lead deepens their confusion, draining their resolve and fracturing their focus. Every ambiguous sound, a faint rustle, a distant snarl, acts as a psychological trigger. The lion's nerves are stretched taut, their vigilance exacting a heavy toll. Forced to operate in a state of perpetual readiness, their energy is gradually sapped, leaving them vulnerable to mistakes and hesitation. Over time, this relentless psychological pressure breeds agitation within the pride. Individuals begin to second-guess their instincts, their movements growing disjointed. The cohesion that once defined the group weakens, replaced by a creeping sense of vulnerability. The leopard's unseen influence fractures their unity, making coordinated action increasingly elusive. The leopard's intelligence is its most formidable weapon. It observes with unblinking focus, cataloguing the behaviors and routines of its adversaries. Each encounter is a lesson, each retreat a calculated move in a larger game. By anticipating the lion's reactions, the leopard orchestrates encounters to its advantage, often shaping outcomes without ever revealing itself. In moments of direct confrontation, the leopard's psychological tactics reach their zenith. It leverages every element of its environment, shifting light, tangled foliage, the cacophony of jungle life, to maintain the upper hand. The lions, unable to predict its next move, are forced into a defensive posture, their aggression blunted by uncertainty. Ultimately, the leopard's command of psychological warfare allows it to dominate the jungle's power struggles without resorting to open conflict. By sowing doubt, manipulating perception, and exploiting the mental vulnerabilities of its rivals, it secures its place as the jungle's most enigmatic strategist, a phantom presence, shaping the destinies of all who share its domain. The forest floor, once a realm of mystery, now yields its secrets through a cascade of new data. Camera traps hidden beneath the emerald canopy capture the silent ballet of predators, while GPS collars trace their every step with scientific precision. These revelations are reshaping our understanding of how big cats navigate the tangled world beneath the trees. In the labyrinth of roots and shadows, leopards display a mastery of stealth and patience. Each movement is deliberate, muscles tensed, whiskers twitching, eyes fixed on the shifting patterns of light and shadow. The leopard's coat, dappled with rosettes, becomes indistinguishable from the forest floor, allowing it to slip between shafts of sunlight and pools of darkness without a sound. Their hunting strategy is a study in calculated restraint. They freeze mid-step, waiting for the faintest rustle, then explode into action with astonishing speed. The data reveals that leopards exploit every vertical layer of the jungle. They ascend gnarled trunks with effortless grace, pausing on mossy branches to survey the world below. From these lofty vantage points they ambush prey, sometimes dropping silently onto unsuspecting animals, other times stalking along the ground, weaving through ferns and fallen logs. Their diet is as varied as the forest itself, from nimble monkeys leaping through the canopy to duikers and bushbuck grazing in the gloom. Lions, in stark contrast, struggle to adapt their social tactics to this dense environment. Prides fragment as individuals lose sight of one another among the tangled vines and towering buttress roots. The GPS data paints a picture of uncertainty. Lions wander in broad, looping arcs, often retracing their steps or pausing in confusion at impenetrable thickets. Their roars, so commanding on the savannah, are muffled by the dense foliage, and coordinated hunts dissolve into disarray. The consequences are clear in the aftermath of the hunt. Leopards, with their formidable jaws and sinewy strength, drag their kills high into the trees. Here, above the reach of scavengers and rival predators, They feed in solitude, undisturbed by the chaos below. Camera traps capture these moments of triumph. A leopard's tail curled around a branch, golden eyes gleaming as it tears into fresh meat, the remains of its prey dangling from the canopy. Infographic analyses of movement patterns underscore the divide. Leopards maintain compact, overlapping territories, optimizing every inch of their domain. Lions, meanwhile, are forced to roam ever wider, expending precious energy as they search for opportunities that rarely materialize. The efficiency of the leopard's routes stands in stark contrast to the meandering, often futile journeys of the lions. The forest rewards adaptability above all. In this world of shifting shadows and perpetual twilight, the leopard's intelligence, flexibility, and solitary cunning are the keys to survival. The lion, once undisputed monarch of the open plains, must now confront the limits of its power, learning humility in a realm where strength alone is not enough. Beneath the dense canopy, the leopard thrives as a phantom, silent, unseen, and supreme, while the lion, outmatched by the demands of the jungle, fades quietly into the green dusk. Deep within the tangled heart of the jungle, survival is not a privilege but a daily battle waged in silence and shadow. For the leopard, every dawn brings a new gauntlet, predators, rivals, and the ever-present scarcity of prey. Its world is a mosaic of shifting dangers and fleeting opportunities, demanding constant vigilance and ingenuity. The leopard's existence is a testament to the art of adaptation, sculpted by the relentless pressures of its environment. While the lion dominates the open savanna with overwhelming force and coordinated pride tactics, its strategies are tailored to the vast, exposed grasslands. Lions rely on teamwork, using their numbers to encircle and exhaust prey, their roars echoing across the plains as a warning to all. In contrast, the leopard's domain is a labyrinth of dense foliage and unpredictable terrain, where brute strength alone is insufficient. Here, survival hinges on adaptability, stealth, and the ability to exploit every nuance of the landscape. In this intricate world of green, the leopard's patience is legendary. It can remain motionless for hours, every muscle coiled, senses finely tuned to the faintest rustle or shifting scent. Unlike the lion, which often chases down prey in open pursuit, the leopard excels at ambush. It studies the habits of its quarry, memorizing the paths of antelope, monkeys, and even smaller carnivores, then positions itself with surgical precision, striking only when success is nearly certain. The leopard's body is engineered for versatility. Its padded paws absorb sound, allowing it to move undetected across leaf litter and tangled roots. A supple spine and powerful shoulders enable it to ascend trees with ease, escaping danger or stashing a fresh kill beyond the reach of scavengers. Unlike lions, which are largely bound to the ground, the leopard's arboreal prowess opens a vertical dimension of survival, granting access to hidden refuges and vantage points. Mastery of camouflage is another of the leopard's survival strategies. Its rosette-patterned coat fractures its outline, rendering it nearly invisible in the interplay of light and shadow. When hunting, it moves with calculated precision, using every bush, fallen log, and shaft of sunlight as cover. After a successful hunt, the leopard's instinct is to secure its meal from competitors, hoisting heavy carcasses into the treetops, where even the most determined hyena or lion cannot follow. The rivalry between these apex predators is shaped by their environments. The lion's strength is magnified by the unity of the pride, each member playing a role in defense and hunting. Yet this social structure is a liability in the jungle, where resources are scarce and stealth is paramount. The leopard, solitary by nature, thrives in isolation, its independence allowing it to exploit opportunities that would elude a larger, noisier group. Solitude is the leopard's shield and sword. Free from the constraints of group dynamics, it can move with absolute discretion, choosing when to reveal itself and when to vanish. This independence is not without risk. Every decision is a solitary gamble, but it grants the leopard unmatched flexibility in a world where unpredictability is the only constant. Adaptability is the leopard's greatest asset. It traverses the jungle canopy with the agility of a primate, swims across swollen rivers when the rains transform the forest floor, and negotiates rocky outcrops with feline grace. Each new challenge, be it drought, flood, or the encroachment of rival predators, demands a fresh strategy, and the leopard's repertoire is ever expanding. In the perpetual twilight beneath the jungle canopy, intelligence and stealth are the ultimate tools. The leopard's mind is a map of its territory, every scent, sound, and shadow catalogued and analyzed. It learns from each encounter, refining its tactics, anticipating the moves of both prey and rivals. This mental agility, paired with physical prowess, ensures its continued survival in a world where hesitation can mean death. As dusk settles and the jungle stirs with nocturnal life, the leopard remains vigilant. It is not crowned by brute force or the loyalty of a pride, but by its relentless capacity to adapt, endure, and outthink every challenge. In this ever-changing wilderness, the leopard stands as the ultimate survivor, an emblem of resilience, ingenuity, and the quiet mastery of its shadowed domain. Beyond the visible contests for territory and the silent, calculated pursuit of prey, there exists a far subtler drama within the jungle, a realm where every shadow and scent carries meaning, and every sound is a thread in the intricate tapestry of survival. As dusk settles and the jungle's light fractures into a mosaic of shadows, a hidden dialogue unfolds. Here, predators communicate not with words, but with a sophisticated lexicon of signals, each one crafted for clarity, secrecy, and precision. Leopards and lions, though fierce competitors, have each developed unique systems of communication, honed by generations of adaptation to the dense, unpredictable wilds. The leopard, a solitary phantom, weaves its presence into the jungle through a complex array of scent marks, claw rakes, and nuanced vocalizations, each one a deliberate act, designed to inform, warn, or deceive. With a calculated swipe, the leopard leaves deep grooves in tree bark, the scent from its glands mingling with the resin, a signature that lingers for days, unmistakable to any rival passing through. A faint musk on a low-hanging branch or a single scrape in the earth becomes a silent proclamation. This ground is claimed, this path is watched. At twilight, the leopard's rasping call vibrates through the tangled undergrowth, its frequency chosen to travel far yet remain elusive, a message meant for those who understand its code. Every mark, every sound is placed with intention, minimizing exposure, maximizing the chance of survival, and reducing the risk of direct confrontation. In contrast, the lion, even when shrouded by the jungle's thickest shadows, commands its domain with a language of power and unity. A lion's roar, deep and resonant, rolls through the foliage, its vibrations a warning to intruders and a rallying cry to distant pride members. The sound is both a deterrent and a declaration, echoing through the labyrinth of trees. Along winding trails and beneath ancient canopies, lions deposit scent with each step, urine sprayed on trunks, glands pressed to the earth, each trace a chemical message that reveals identity, status, and intent. These invisible signals persist long after the lion's passage, maintaining the boundaries of pride and order in a world where direct conflict is perilous and costly. Sometimes the paths of these two apex predators cross in silence. A leopard, approaching the edge of a lion's domain, halts, nose twitching, eyes narrowed, deciphering the layered scents and subtle disturbances that warn of danger ahead. The lion, in turn, lifts its head, nostrils flaring, detecting the fleeting presence of its elusive rival, a ghostly signature left in the air, a silent challenge or a cautious retreat. This ongoing exchange, conducted in the language of scent, sound, and sign, allows both species to navigate the jungle's dangers, avoiding unnecessary battles while asserting their place in the hierarchy. In this world, where every step is a risk and every sound a potential threat, The ability to communicate without being seen or heard is as essential as muscle or claw. Here, beneath the perpetual canopy, the true language of survival is written in the earth, carried on the wind and whispered in the rustle of leaves, a code deciphered only by those who live and hunt in the shadows, where silence speaks louder than any roar. In the jungle, survival is a living equation, constantly recalculated by the unpredictable hand of weather. Each day the forest breathes with the pulse of the elements, and every predator must read these subtle cues to survive. As monsoon clouds gather and sunlight fractures through the canopy, both leopards and lions are compelled to adjust their tactics. The shifting seasons do not merely alter the landscape, they redefine the very rules of engagement between hunter and hunted. Torrential rain transforms the jungle into a world of blurred outlines and softened sounds. The relentless drumming of water on leaves muffles the approach of even the heaviest paw, while rivulets carve new paths through the undergrowth, erasing familiar scent trails and reshaping the terrain. For the leopard, rain is both cloak and challenge. The downpour conceals its approach, allowing it to glide unseen through the sodden labyrinth. Yet the same rain dissolves territorial boundaries, leaving the cat vulnerable to unexpected confrontations with rivals or the silent advance of a lion. The wet season thickens the jungle's defenses. Ferns and creepers surge, creating a living maze of concealment. Escape routes multiply, but so do the hiding places for danger. In this emerald labyrinth, the leopard's rosetted coat becomes a masterstroke of evolution, each spot dissolving into the dappled shadows, rendering the predator nearly invisible to both prey and rival. Yet the rain sharpens the senses of all. Prey animals, deprived of scent, rely on the faintest tremor in the air or the subtle shift of a shadow. The leopard must move with exquisite care, every muscle attuned to the rhythm of the storm. Lions, less agile in the tangled heights, exploit the softened earth below. The rain dampens the sound of their approach, allowing them to stalk closer than the dry season ever permits. The humidity thickens the air, carrying the lion's scent farther than before. Each step is a silent message, a warning drifting through the fog to all who share the territory. When the rains retreat and the dry season claims the land, the jungle is stripped to its bones. Sunlight pierces the thinning canopy, exposing secrets once hidden in shadow. The ground becomes a brittle tapestry of fallen leaves and twigs. Every movement is betrayed by the crackle beneath paw or hoof, turning stealth into a delicate art. Water becomes precious. Shrinking pools draw predator and prey into uneasy proximity, where every drink is shadowed by the threat of ambush. The dry grass whispers secrets to all who listen. A single misstep, a snapped twig, a rustle in the brush, can unravel the most carefully laid plans. Leopards, masters of patience, must now synchronize their attacks with the shifting wind or the sudden clamor of birds, using every distraction to mask their approach. Lions, meanwhile, gather in the scant shade, their golden coats blending with the parched earth. They wait, motionless, for the moment when thirst draws their quarry within striking distance. Temperature orchestrates the tempo of life. As the sun climbs, the jungle slows, its inhabitants seeking refuge from the relentless heat. Both leopard and lion retreat into the sanctuary of shade, conserving strength for the hours when the air cools and the world stirs once more. As dusk descends, the jungle awakens, shadows lengthen, and the air is charged with anticipation. The hunt resumes, guided by the subtle cues of temperature and light. Across rain-drenched nights and sun-baked days, through swirling mists and searing drought, the great cats are shaped by the elements, each adaptation a testament to their resilience. Weather is the unseen architect, sculpting the strategies of predator and prey alike. It is a force that offers opportunity and imposes peril, never favoring one side for long. In this ever-evolving theatre, only those who read the language of rain and sun endure. Every decision, every step, is dictated by the shifting moods of the sky, where survival belongs to the most adaptable. In the relentless chess match of the jungle, the senses are both shield and sword. Every moment is a contest of perception, where the unseen and the unsmelled dictate survival. While sight and sound are the most obvious weapons, it is scent and camouflage, those silent, invisible forces that often tip the scales between life and death. For both predator and prey, these intangible elements form a silent battleground. Here, every drifting molecule and every shifting shadow can alter the fate of a hunt, turning advantage into vulnerability in an instant. Leopards, the undisputed masters of stealth, are cloaked in a living mosaic of rosettes. Each spot and swirl is a calculated adaptation, scattering their outline among the fractured sunlight that filters through the jungle canopy. This natural camouflage is not mere decoration. It is a shield, allowing them to vanish into the tangled undergrowth, invisible even to the most vigilant eyes. Each movement is deliberate. Leopards press their bodies low, gliding through the mosaic of sun and shadow, their muscles rippling in silence. The interplay of light and darkness blurs the boundary between animal and environment, rendering them nearly spectral. Yet camouflage alone is not enough to guarantee success in this world of heightened senses. The jungle is saturated with scent, a complex language written in pheromones, sweat, and the musk of both fear and hunger. Invisible trails linger in the humid air, betraying presence long after the animal has passed. Leopards are meticulous in their hygiene, grooming their fur with precision. Each stroke of the tongue removes debris and neutralizes odors, erasing the chemical signatures that could betray their approach to wary prey. They are students of the wind, always maneuvering downwind of their quarry. The breeze becomes an ally, carrying their scent away and ensuring that their presence remains undetected until the final, explosive moment. Even after a successful hunt, leopards act with calculated caution. Their kills are hoisted high into the trees, not only to evade scavengers like lions and hyenas, but to minimize the scent trails that would otherwise linger on the forest floor, inviting unwanted attention. Lions, in contrast, are less dependent on concealment. Their power lies in dominance, and their scent is both a warning and a weapon, saturating the air with authority. Territorial boundaries are marked with potent signposts, urine sprayed on bushes, scat deposited at strategic points, and deep claw marks etched into tree trunks. Each marker is a declaration, a chemical proclamation to rivals and intruders alike. Yet even these regal hunters must respect the rules of the scent game when the hunt begins. As dusk falls, lions move with a calculated silence, their golden coats blending with the tall grass beneath the darkening sky. Night grants them cover, and the shifting winds become both shield and threat. A single errant gust can betray their approach, sending prey scattering before the chase even begins. For prey animals, the stakes are equally dire. Their survival depends on an exquisite sensitivity to both scent and sight, every sense tuned to the faintest hint of danger. Antelope and monkeys, ever vigilant, freeze mid-step when the faintest trace of a predator's musk drifts on the breeze. Their bodies tense, ears swiveling, nostrils flaring as they decipher the invisible warnings carried by the air. Their coats are masterpieces of adaptation, soft browns, mottled greys, and intricate patterns that dissolve into the tangled tapestry of the forest, making them nearly indistinguishable from the shifting foliage. Camouflage becomes their armor, a passive defense that buys precious seconds. Scent, meanwhile, is their early warning system, alerting them to danger before it can be seen or heard. In this invisible war, victory belongs to those who master the art of not being seen and not being smelled. The jungle's shadows are thick with secrets, and only the most skilled can navigate them undetected. The greatest hunters here are not merely predators of flesh, but predators of perception, wielding scent and camouflage as their most subtle and most vital weapons. In this realm, invisibility is the ultimate armor, and mastery of the unseen is the key to survival. As the final rays of sunlight slip beneath the tangled canopy, the jungle undergoes a profound transformation. Shadows stretch and deepen, cloaking the undergrowth in secrecy. In this shifting gloom, the rules of survival are rewritten, and only those with the keenest senses and most refined tactics thrive. The night belongs to the predators, masters of adaptation, whose every instinct is honed for the challenges of darkness. For the leopard, dusk is not a curtain call, but an invitation. As the world dims, it slips from its daytime refuge, muscles rippling beneath a pelt designed for concealment. The leopard's solitary nature becomes an asset, allowing it to move undetected through the labyrinth of roots and vines. Its eyes, now wide and luminous, drink in every glimmer of moonlight. The tapetum lucidum, a mirrored layer behind the retina, captures and amplifies even the faintest photons, rendering the darkness navigable. The jungle, invisible to most, is revealed in gradients of silver and shadow. This biological marvel grants the leopard a decisive edge. It can distinguish the subtle twitch of a rodent's whisker or the nervous flick of a deer's ear, even when the world is painted in near blackness. Each step is a study in precision. The leopard's rosetted coat, a masterpiece of evolutionary camouflage, breaks up its outline against the dappled moonlight. It glides through the undergrowth, paws cushioned by thick pads that absorb sound, rendering its approach nearly imperceptible. Muscles tense and release in slow, deliberate movements. Whiskers, sensitive to the faintest air currents, probe the darkness for obstacles and prey alike. The leopard's entire body becomes an instrument of detection and stealth. Prey animals, their vision dulled and senses taxed by fatigue, are at a disadvantage. Their wide, anxious eyes scan the gloom, but the jungle's silence is deceptive. Every rustle could signal danger, yet the true threat is often invisible until it is too late. As the leopard begins its solitary hunt, another force stirs in the open grasslands. The lion pride. Nightfall awakens them from their daytime lethargy, muscles stretching and jaws parting in cavernous yawns. Ears swivel, attuned to the faintest shuffle in the grass. The pride's social structure becomes a tactical advantage, each member alert to the signals of its companions. In the cool, dense air, lions coordinate with silent gestures and subtle cues. They fan out, forming a living net that sweeps across the savannah, each lion's position calculated for maximum coverage and minimal detection. Their eyes, too, reflect the starlight, glowing like embers in the night. Communication is wordless. An ear flick, a tail twitch, a shared glance, each signal reinforcing the unity of the hunt. Occasionally, a deep, resonant roar rolls across the plains, a declaration of presence and power. This vocalization not only coordinates the pride, but also warns rivals and marks territory, its sound carried farther by the dense nocturnal air. The night air, thick with moisture, transmits sound and scent with remarkable efficiency. Every breath, every footfall, every distant call is magnified, shaping the strategies of both hunter and hunted. Both leopards and lions are equipped with broad, padded paws that distribute their weight and silence their approach. Each step leaves only the faintest imprint in the soft earth, a fleeting signature erased by the next breeze. Their hearing is acute, capable of isolating the subtle crack of a twig or the distant exhale of a hidden antelope. In the absence of light, sound becomes a primary guide, shaping every decision and movement. Scent, too, is a vital tool. The moist night air carries the aroma of prey, rivals, and territory boundaries. Both leopards and lions interpret these invisible trails, adjusting their routes to avoid confrontation or to close in on unsuspecting quarry. Above, the jungle canopy breathes in synchrony with the stars, each leaf and branch part of a living tapestry. The darkness is not an obstacle but a resource, exploited by those who understand its rhythms. The leopard, alone and agile, weaves through the moonlit jungle, It selects its path with care, using elevation and cover to approach prey from above or behind, relying on patience and precision rather than brute force. When opportunity arises, the leopard becomes a living spring, exploding from concealment with astonishing speed, jaws closing before the prey can react. Its kills are swift and silent, often hoisted into the trees to avoid detection by larger predators. The lion pride, in contrast, leverages numbers and coordination. They encircle herds, driving prey into carefully laid ambushes. Each lion plays a role. Some drive, others flank, and the strongest deliver the final blow. Lionesses, the pride's primary hunters, move with synchronized intent. Their strategy is dynamic, adapting to the terrain and the behavior of their quarry. Communication is constant, though nearly invisible to the untrained eye. In this nocturnal theater, the jungle's apex predators are not hindered by the absence of light. Instead, they are sculpted by it, each sense sharpened, each tactic refined. The darkness is their element, and within it they reign supreme. Across the sprawling mosaic of jungle and savanna, the land itself is a silent strategist, its contours, textures, and obstacles dictating the rhythm of every hunt and escape. Each undulation of earth, every tangled thicket or open glade, becomes a stage where the ancient contest between predator and prey unfolds with relentless precision. The jungle's uneven ground, riddled with roots and sudden drops, demands agility and awareness from all who traverse it. Here, a single misstep can betray a hunter's presence or doom a fleeing animal. Every movement is measured, every sense heightened, as creatures navigate a labyrinth of concealment and danger. Dense undergrowth forms a living maze, its interwoven branches and leaves creating shifting corridors of shadow and light. For the leopard, this tangled world is an ally, its rosetted coat dissolving into the mottled greens, allowing it to glide unseen through the underbrush. Dappled sunlight flickers across its back, masking every calculated step as it closes in on unsuspecting prey. Fallen logs and twisted vines are not mere obstacles, they are vantage points and springboards, transforming the forest floor into a three-dimensional battlefield. The thick foliage absorbs sound, muffling the softest footfall and the faintest breath, granting both hunter and hunted a cloak of secrecy. Yet in this world of whispers, a single snapped twig or rustle of grass can shatter the balance, sending prey bounding for safety or alerting a predator to a fleeting chance. Beyond the jungle, the savanna stretches wide, its golden grasses and scattered acacias offering a starkly different arena. Here, lions exploit the subtle undulations and tufts of grass, their tawny bodies pressed low, moving in silent synchrony. Shallow gullies and towering termite mounds become natural blinds, concealing the pride's approach as they orchestrate their ambush. Each lion advances with calculated patience, using every dip and rise to mask their intent until the final explosive charge. Prey animals, too, are students of the land. An impala may vanish behind a stand of thorn bush or use a sudden depression to break the line of sight. A creek becomes a lifeline, its banks launching a desperate leap that can mean the difference between life and death. A warthog, sensing danger, darts for the sanctuary of its burrow, the earth itself swallowing it from view. Every footfall is dictated by the terrain. Soft mud, loose stones, or tangled roots can spell disaster or deliverance in a heartbeat. Rivers and waterholes are the great equalizers, drawing predator and prey alike to their banks where the promise of water is shadowed by the threat of ambush. Predators crouch motionless in the mud, their patience measured in heartbeats, waiting for the moment when thirst overcomes caution. Prey approach with every muscle tensed, eyes scanning for the faintest sign of danger, knowing that survival hinges on a single decision. As seasons shift, the landscape itself is reborn. Rains transform dusty trails into rivers, while the dry season strips away cover, exposing secrets long hidden. Torrential downpours carve new channels through the earth, forcing animals to adapt their routes and strategies with each passing storm. In drought, the thinning foliage reveals hidden trails and ancient paths, altering the balance of concealment and exposure. Every hunt becomes a negotiation with the land. Predators must read the subtle language of the terrain, anticipating how shifting ground will shape the chase. The most adept hunters adjust their tactics with each new challenge, exploiting ridges for cover or using hollows to mask their approach. Every ridge, every hollow becomes a tool, an opportunity seized by those who understand the land's secrets. Prey, too, are shaped by their environment, learning the contours of their world with each narrow escape. They memorize escape routes, safe havens, and the subtle cues that signal danger, their survival written in the memory of the land. In this ceaseless contest, it is not only tooth and claw that decide fate, but the ever-shifting canvas of earth, water, and green. The land is both adversary and ally, its moods and forms shaping every outcome with impartial resolve. Mist drifts over dawn-lit ridges, the air thick with anticipation, as the landscape silently orchestrates the destinies of all who dwell within it. Predator and prey move through the same world, their fates entwined by the land's invisible hand. In the final surge, muscles coiled, hearts pounding, the outcome is determined not just by strength or speed, but by an intimate knowledge of the ground beneath their paws, where every hunt is a testament to the land's enduring power. In the perpetual contest between predator and prey, the art of invisibility is an evolutionary masterpiece. Beyond the simple blending of color and pattern, advanced camouflage in leopards and lions is a dynamic interplay of biology, behavior, and environment, refined over millennia for the single purpose of vanishing in plain sight. Within the tangled embrace of the jungle, the leopard is the undisputed phantom. Its coat is a living mosaic, dark rosettes scattered across a golden canvas, each spot breaking up the animal's outline into fragments that dissolve against the dappled sunlight and shifting shadows. But this camouflage is not static. As light filters through the canopy, the leopard's fur seems to flicker and fade, the patterns adjusting to the hour and the angle of the sun. The cat's movements are calculated, fluid, deliberate, and always in harmony with the rhythm of the forest. When stalking, the leopard freezes at the faintest hint of detection, its body pressed low, muscles tensed, whiskers quivering as it reads the tremors of the air. Even its breathing slows, minimizing the rise and fall of its form. The jungle's undergrowth is thick with scent, earth, decay, blooming flowers, and the leopard's fur absorbs these odors, muffling its own signature and masking its approach. Each step is placed with surgical precision, paws curling around twigs and dry leaves to avoid betraying its presence. Often the leopard will pause in the shadows, allowing the shifting leaves to paint moving patterns across its coat, an illusion of emptiness where a predator waits unseen. Across the open savanna, the lion's camouflage is a study in subtlety. The pale gold of its fur mirrors the sun-bleached grasses, rendering the great cat nearly invisible when it crouches low. But advanced concealment is more than color. It is strategy. Lions choose their approach routes by the lay of the land and the quality of cover, moving only when the wind is right and the sun is at their backs, casting their shadows away from their quarry. In the early dawn or fading dusk, the boundary between lion and land blurs entirely. The pride's youngest members learn to remain motionless for minutes at a time, their ears pressed back and eyes barely visible above the grass. Adult lions refine this art, coordinating their movements so that each member's position maximizes the use of available cover, termite mounds, sparse shrubs, or the subtle dips in the earth. Even the lion's mane, more than a symbol of dominance, serves a dual purpose. When pressed flat, it obscures the angular lines of the head and shoulders, softening the silhouette and preventing prey from recognizing the threat until it is too late. In moments of high tension, the lion's tail moves with subtle flicks, signaling intent to the pride while remaining hidden from watchful eyes. Both leopard and lion exploit not only the visual landscape but also the limitations of their prey's senses. They understand the blind spots, the angles of approach least likely to be detected, and the precise moment when a shift in wind or a change in light can render them invisible. This is camouflage elevated to its highest form, not merely a cloak but an active engagement with the world. In every hunt, these predators become living shadows, sculpted by evolution to master the art of disappearance. For those who share their realm, survival depends not just on what is seen, but on what remains forever hidden. In the wild, survival is as much a matter of what is heard as what is seen. Sound, its presence, its absence, and its manipulation, forms an invisible battlefield on which every predator and prey must fight. Within the tangled silence of the jungle and the wide hush of the savannah, both lions and leopards navigate a world defined by echoes, vibrations, and the softest whispers of movement. For the leopard, silence is not merely the absence of noise, but a carefully constructed shield. Each step is a calculated negotiation with the ground, a conscious avoidance of brittle leaves, snapping twigs, or loose stones that might betray its approach. The padded paws of the leopard distribute weight with surgical precision, muffling impact and dispersing sound. Even the rhythm of its breathing is controlled, each exhale a measured thread lost amidst the forest's ambient hum. Yet, in this world of quiet, the slightest sound can be a warning or an invitation. The rustle of a startled bird, the sudden hush that falls over a troop of monkeys, the distant crack of antelope hooves, all are signals decoded in an instant. The leopard's ears, rotating independently, sweep the air for these auditory cues, triangulating the position of potential prey or the approach of a rival. In the dense understory, where vision fails, it is often sound that draws the hunter in or warns it away. Across the open grasslands, lions orchestrate their own symphony of silence. During the hunt, a pride's communication is reduced to the barest minimum: subtle tail flicks, glances, and body posture. A single misplaced paw can send a ripple of alarm through a herd, and so every movement is rehearsed in quiet. The wind itself becomes an ally or a foe, carrying the faintest vibrations across the plains. Lions use this to their advantage, approaching from downwind to mask the sound and scent of their advance. But silence is not static. It is constantly threatened by the world's own noise, the chorus of insects at dusk, the patter of rain on leaves, the distant rumble of thunder. Each can cloak a predator's approach or mask the warning sounds of prey. Both lion and leopard have learned to hunt in harmony with these natural soundscapes, timing their movements to coincide with sudden peals of thunder or the crescendo of frogs in the wet season. Prey, in turn, are equally attuned. Herds of antelope freeze at the faintest anomaly, a footfall out of rhythm, a branch bending under unseen weight. Their ears flick and rotate, filtering the familiar from the foreign, the harmless from the lethal. Some will stamp or snort, amplifying their own sounds to flush out hidden danger, while others rely on the collective vigilance of the group, trusting that many ears are better than one. In this ongoing contest, mastery of sound, both its production and its suppression, is as vital as any camouflage. Here, the sharp crack of a twig can mean the difference between a full belly and empty pursuit, between life and death. The greatest hunters are those who move in tandem with the world's own music, vanishing not just in sight, but in sound as well. In the wild, silence is the most precious currency, and only those who wield it with precision can hope to rule the shadows. As night settles over the wild, a silent architect exerts its influence from above, the moon. Its shifting phases cast a subtle yet profound effect on the lives of predators and prey alike. For lions and leopards, the lunar cycle is more than a backdrop. It is a calendar of opportunity and caution. On nights of the full moon, the savannah and jungle are bathed in silver light. Shadows recede, and the cover of darkness, so vital to the stealth of hunters, is diminished. Lions, who rely on the cloak of night for their coordinated ambushes, become more hesitant. Their movements grow slower, their approaches more deliberate, as the herds they hunt remain alert and restless under the watchful glow. Prey animals, able to see farther and clearer, tighten their groups and extend their vigilance. The result is a delicate standoff, hunters held at bay by the very light that reveals their intentions. Leopards, too, must adapt. In the forest's labyrinth, the full moon's illumination pierces the canopy, dissolving the deep shadows where the solitary cat prefers to move. The leopard's usual advantage, the seamless blending into darkness, is compromised. It shifts its hunting hours, waiting for clouds to obscure the moon, or seeking patches of dense foliage that remain untouched by lunar beams. The cat's patience is tested, its strategy recalibrated with every shifting ray. But as the moon wanes, the balance tilts. During the new moon, darkness returns in full force. The world shrinks to the reach of a hunter's vision, mere meters ahead, shapes and movements rendered in gradients of black. Now lions reclaim the night. Their confidence swells as they melt into the void, communicating with hushed signals, fanning out in formations that would be impossible under brighter skies. The pride's unity becomes its greatest asset, each lion trusting in the invisibility granted by the moonless dark. For leopards, the new moon is an invitation. Cloaked in near-total darkness, they move with renewed boldness, weaving through the undergrowth and scaling trees with impunity. Their prey, deprived of the moon's warning light, becomes more vulnerable, relying solely on ears and nose to sense danger. Here, the advantage returns to the silent stalker. Between these extremes, the waxing and waning crescents bring their own nuances. Partial illumination creates a patchwork of shadow and light, complicating the hunt for both predator and prey. Each must read the landscape anew, interpreting the shifting darkness, exploiting or evading as the night demands. Nocturnal life, then, is orchestrated by the moon's silent rhythm. Every phase brings a recalibration of tactics, a new negotiation between risk and reward. For the wild's greatest hunters, mastery of the lunar timetable is as essential as strength, stealth, or speed. In the end, the moon is not merely a passive witness, but an active player, its changing face etched into the pulse of every hunt. As the moon's guidance wanes, another force steps forward to shape the destinies of predators, the turning of the seasons. Across the savannah and deep within the jungle, the pulse of life beats to rhythms far older than memory. Rain and drought, heat and chill, abundance and scarcity. Each season brings with it a profound transformation, challenging even the most accomplished hunters to adapt or falter. With the arrival of the wet season, the landscape is reborn. Grasses surge skyward, rivers swell, and the air hums with the chorus of new life. Prey animals disperse, no longer tethered to shrinking waterholes. For lions, this abundance scatters opportunity. The pride's domain expands, but the hunt grows more arduous. The thickening vegetation cloaks prey in emerald shadows, forcing lions to invest more time and energy in each pursuit. Success hinges on patience, teamwork, and an intimate knowledge of the land's shifting contours. The pride's bonds are tested as hunger sharpens the edge of competition. Leopards, too, are pressed to refine their craft. The rains transform the forest floor into a mosaic of sound and scent, masking the movements of both hunter and hunted. The solitary cat becomes even more elusive, adjusting its routes to avoid flooded gullies and treacherous mud. Each step is measured, each leap calculated to account for the slick, uncertain footing. The leopard's versatility, its ability to climb, swim, and stalk, becomes its greatest asset in an environment reborn. As the dry season asserts itself, the world contracts. Waterholes recede to muddy oases, drawing herds and predators alike into uneasy proximity. The grass withers and the trees shed their leaves, bearing the terrain to unrelenting sunlight. Now the advantage shifts. Lions gather at these vital lifelines, their hunts growing more frequent, their tactics bolder. The scarcity of cover demands new strategies, shorter chases, more direct ambushes, and a willingness to confront rival predators over precious resources. For the leopard, the dry season is a double-edged sword. Prey is more predictable, but so are the dangers. With less foliage to obscure its path, the solitary hunter must rely on stealth and timing, often venturing out under the harsh glare of the midday sun or the deepening twilight. The dry air carries scent farther, both a warning and a lure, as every movement is written in the dust. Throughout these cycles, the true architects of survival are adaptability and resilience. Predators must sense the subtle cues, the first scent of rain on parched earth, the swelling of distant clouds, the migration of herds across the horizon. Each season is a test, erasing old certainties and demanding new tactics. The successful hunter is not merely the strongest or the fastest, but the one most attuned to the ceaseless change that defines the wild. In the grand theatre of nature, the seasons are both stage and scriptwriter, setting the tempo for every pursuit, every ambush, every moment of triumph and defeat. Here, survival belongs to those who can read the signs and move with the turning world. In the relentless contest between predator and prey, brute strength alone is rarely enough. Over countless millennia, a subtler weapon has emerged, stealth, refined through the crucible of natural selection. For big cats, this mastery of silence and invisibility is not merely a tactic, but an inheritance etched into muscle, bone, and instinct. Trace the lineage of the lion and the leopard, and a pattern emerges, an arms race of perception and evasion. Early ancestors, less specialized, relied on opportunistic pursuit, but as prey grew more alert and landscapes more complex, refinement became necessity. Evolution sculpted bodies for the art of approach, the flexible spine, the padded paws, the retractable claws, sheathed until the final moment. Every sinew is tuned for controlled movement, every whisker a sensor for the faintest vibration. For the lion, stealth is a communal choreography. The pride's approach is a low, synchronized crawl through the tall grass, each member attuned to the rhythm of the others. Muscles tense, breaths are held, and the world narrows to the space between predator and prey. The golden coat blends with the sun-baked savannah, while the pale underbelly remains pressed close to the earth, hidden from view. Every movement is calculated, every pause a test of patience honed over generations. The leopard's legacy is even more solitary and precise. Evolution has gifted it with a dappled coat, each rosette a shadow in the shifting light of the forest. Its gait is a silent ballet, shoulders rolling, paws placed with surgical care. The tail, long and expressive, acts as a counterbalance during precarious climbs and sudden pivots. In the dense undergrowth, the leopard becomes a rumor, a flicker of movement that vanishes before the mind can register danger. But stealth is not merely physical, it is a suite of behaviors, an internalized code, the slow blink, the measured exhale, the ability to freeze in mid-step, all are products of evolutionary pressure, subtle advantages passed from mother to cub. Over generations, only the quietest, most patient hunters survive to teach their young. The result is a predator that moves not as an intruder, but as a shadow among shadows. This silent revolution continues to shape the destinies of big cats. Each adaptation is a response to the ever-evolving vigilance of prey, a testament to the ceaseless dialogue between hunter and hunted. In the world's wild places, true mastery is measured not in the roar of the chase, but in the hush that precedes it, a hush born of millions of years of incremental perfection, where the smallest advantage can mean the difference between feast and famine. Here, in the evolution of stealth, nature reveals its most elegant solution to the eternal challenge of survival. To be unseen, to be unheard, and, at the decisive moment, to become the last thing the prey will ever know. In the vast theatres of savannah and jungle, the drama of predator and prey is shaped not just by teeth, claws, or silent pursuit, but by invisible frontiers drawn in scent, a language written in molecules, deciphered on the wind. Here, territory is not a line scratched in the dust, but a living, shifting map defined by the daily rituals of scent marking. For big cats, the act of claiming ground is both declaration and defense, a silent warning to rivals and a beacon to potential mates. A lion patrols the boundary of its pride's domain, its mane barely stirring in the morning breeze. With deliberate precision, it rubs its face against low-hanging branches, leaving behind a cocktail of pheromones secreted from facial glands. Each mark is unique, a chemical signature that lingers long after the lion has vanished into the grass. Along well-worn trails, it deposits urine, the scent heavy with information: age, sex, health, even recent meals. To a passing rival, these markers are as clear as a challenge. Cross this line, and you risk confrontation. Leopards, solitary and secretive, weave their own invisible tapestry through the undergrowth. They scrape the earth with their hind paws, mixing scent from glands near the tail with the rich soil. A low branch is sprayed with urine, the droplets carrying messages that only another leopard can decode. For a female in estrus, the scent trail is an invitation. For an intruding male, a warning. These boundaries are not static, they shift with the seasons, with the rise and fall of rivers and the fortunes of those who patrol them. The consequences of trespass are immediate and often violent. A foreign scent triggers a chain reaction, ears flatten, hackles rise, and muscles coil in anticipation. Sometimes the mere presence of a rival's mark is enough to turn a predator away, avoiding costly battles that could end in injury or death. But when territories overlap, when resources dwindle or populations surge, these invisible borders become contested ground. Roars echo at dusk, and the night air carries the tension of unresolved disputes. Territory is more than a place to hunt. It is a sanctuary for raising young, a reservoir of resources, and a stage for the next generation's survival. The scents laid down by today's predators shape the fates of tomorrow's cubs and dictate the flow of life across the land. In this chemical warfare, the air itself becomes a ledger of power and presence, updated with every patrol. Thus, the unseen battlefields of scent marking define the true structure of the predator's world. Every step, every spray, every rub is a silent negotiation, an unending contest where the boundaries are invisible, but the stakes could not be higher. In the wild, even the air is alive with intent, and the story of survival is written in the scents that drift between the shadows. Across the wild landscapes, water is more than a necessity. It is a magnet that draws all creatures, predator and prey alike, to its shimmering edge. In the relentless heat of the savannah, or beneath the dense canopy of the jungle, waterholes become the rarest currency, often the only oasis for miles. Here, survival is distilled to its purest form, and the rules of engagement shift. For predators, the water's edge is not just a place to quench thirst, but a stage for ambush, a convergence point where opportunity flows as surely as the river itself. Crocodiles, masters of patience, lie submerged beneath the mirrored surface, their nostrils and eyes barely breaking the tension of the water. Motionless, they await the moment when a herd's caution falters. The slightest ripple betrays the sudden eruption of power, jaws snapping shut with bone-crushing force, dragging the unwary beneath. Big cats, too, know the water's pull. A lioness crouches in the tall grass, her golden coat blending with the sun-bleached reeds. She studies the patterns of her quarry, antelopes and zebras, always wary, always scanning. But thirst dulls vigilance. The pride positions itself downwind, using the shifting breeze and the reflective glare to mask their approach. The final charge is swift, explosive, the distance between cover and prey measured in heartbeats. Leopards, solitary and spectral, exploit smaller streams and forest pools. Keenly aware of the routines etched into the land, they anticipate the hour when monkeys descend from the trees, or duicas pause to sip. From the low branches above, the leopard becomes an extension of the shadows, dropping with silent precision when the moment arrives. Even the smallest predators, from jackals to fishing cats, learn to read the rhythms of the water. They understand that the margins between safety and peril blur at the water's edge. Prey, compelled by thirst, gather in numbers, each individual's risk amplified by the urgency of the need. The water itself is an accomplice, its surface concealing more than it reveals. Muddy banks record every movement, every approach, every retreat, the scent of fear, the splash of panic, the silence that follows a successful strike, all are absorbed by the ever-shifting current. For those who survive, the memory of danger lingers, shaping future migrations and the timing of every approach. In these liquid traps, there are no second chances. The predator's patience is matched only by the prey's desperation. Every visit to the water is a gamble, a test of instinct sharpened by generations of risk. Here, at the boundary where life and death converge, the true cost of survival is paid in vigilance, cunning, and sometimes blood. Thus, the waterhole stands as the ultimate arena, its banks witness to the ancient pact between hunter and hunted, written anew with every dawn. Beneath the tangled canopy and across the open grasslands, the drama of predation rarely unfolds in isolation. Here, at the heart of the wild, the lives of leopards, lions, and other formidable hunters are interwoven in a web of rivalry, avoidance, and calculated risk. Each species, a master of its own domain, constantly measures its moves against those of its competitors. Leopards, elusive and solitary, move like living shadows through the undergrowth. Their strength lies in adaptability and stealth, enabling them to claim kills in dense thickets or drag carcasses into the branches beyond reach. Yet every meal is shadowed by threat. The low rumble of a lion or the cackle of hyenas signals imminent danger, for these larger predators are relentless in their pursuit of an easy meal. The leopard's answer is silence. A kill is quickly hoisted, the remains hidden in the crook of a tree, where neither lion nor scavenger can follow. This vertical strategy is an evolutionary arms race, a testament to the high stakes of competition. Lions, in contrast, are creatures of power and social cohesion. A pride's dominance is enforced not just through numbers, but through coordinated intimidation. When a lion pride patrols, the forest hushes. Leopards sense their presence in the shifting wind, the vibration of distant roars. They retreat or freeze, knowing that discovery means confrontation, one almost always ending in retreat, or worse. Yet the balance is delicate. In lean seasons, territories overlap. A single water source or a sudden abundance of prey can draw multiple apex predators into uneasy proximity. The aftermath of a lion kill often attracts a congregation: leopards, hyenas, jackals, and even bold civets, each waiting for an opening. The night becomes a chessboard of movement and intent, every player alert to shifting alliances and sudden aggression. Sometimes the lines blur further. A leopard, emboldened by hunger, might test a lioness distracted by her cubs. A coalition of young male lions, still without a pride, may scavenge the remains of a leopard's feast. Jackals, ever opportunistic, thread the margins, quick to exploit the smallest lapse in vigilance. These encounters are rarely direct battles. More often they are contests of patience, intimidation, and the nuanced reading of intent. In the jungle's hierarchy, dominance is never assured. It is negotiated daily through displays of strength, the subtle cues of scent and sound, and the relentless pressure of survival. The interplay of predators shapes not only their own destinies but the rhythm of the entire ecosystem. Each species, by pushing and yielding in turn, maintains the precarious equilibrium that defines life in the wild. In this world, every paw print and every whisper in the grass is a message. Here, the hunt is never just about hunger. It is about power, strategy, and the silent war for supremacy, a contest played out far from human eyes, governed by rules as old as the forest itself.